Alright, welcome back everyone. What we've got here is my 1989 Evinrude 25 horse, and it's sitting on a bass tracker, Sportsman 14. It's got a 6-foot beam across the back, and it's like 4 foot down in the middle. So I guess this would be what you would call a 1448. The boat is probably, I think it's a 1997, and do a lot of folding of the motor whenever you're out because of getting into shallow water and getting into different scenarios where you got to fold this motor up. And what has happened over time is the throttle cable has only got one thread out of the 3 cables that run inside it, has one left, and the kill switch right here, from the edge of the boat where it goes under, it either is getting hit on it so if you look right here, this, see that right there? I don't know if you can see that, but the kill switch, which is right here, is on the front of that, and what happens is, bam, it hits it. So if you do not make sure every time that you put this up, at least to where it's not going to hit it, what happens is it ends up hitting it right there, and it broke it off. This switch is $155. So what we are going to do today is we are going to replace this switch with, I'm doing what you could say is I guess it's a mod, it's an upgrade. So I went ahead and bought this Evinrude Johnson switch, Evinrude Johnson switch 5005-801. It's a turnkey ignition with a safety lanyard. So what I'm going to do is, on the front here, you got a push button. So I'm going to remove that push button, and I'm going to put this switch in there, and then I'm going to incorporate this into here and eliminate this out of there, so that way that doesn't matter again. Throttle lock should still work to be able to lock your throttle at at a certain RPM. That should still work, but it'll get it to stop hitting that edge. The other thing is, this boat had set for about 2 years with I wasn't using it, and what ended up happening is I think some pinholes got into the fuel lines. So what I've done is I went ahead and I replaced the fuel pump over on the other side here, cleaned the carburetor. It's got a primer system, so it doesn't have a air cleaner and a choke. It uses a primer fuel pump that will pump a little bit of fuel through this hose right here into the carburetor, and cleaned everything up, put it in my ultrasonic cleaner, cleaned it up a little bit. It ran a little bit better. The problem that it's having is you go full throttle for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then it just all of a sudden just falls on its face, and then you run the RPMs down to idle, it ends up filling up that bowl again, and then you take off again, and then it just repeats itself. If you go about half throttle, you can run all day. So I want to fix that problem to where you can run full blast if you need to. If you're so inclined to throw $20 every time you go out, it'll suck the fuel down. So we're going to go ahead and replace the fuel line back to the tank. And then if that doesn't fix it, I have replaced the fuel pump. I will have replaced the lines with the new Evinrude set of lines. And then the only thing left would be the fuel tank, which I think is okay. Let's get started. So, not sure if you can see it, but we'll go ahead and I'll see if I can show you. If you look right there, you can see that is the splintered throttle cable. So it runs back through there. There's this wire loom. We're gonna undo it here and pull that out, and then we should have access to the cable underneath. We'll get it rerouted, go back, and we'll put it in place. The throttle cable, I think it goes however it goes, either this way or the other way. This cable, $92 for an Evinrude cable. So yeah, I mean the first one did last 30 years, but we're gonna do what we can to avoid it happening again. Alright, so there's two push buttons here. I got those in, so it's already slid forward some. And there's that one. Okay. Comes off there like that. That comes out of there like that. There's two of those for the slider. It's like that. That. And then that. Man, you would not want to lose those items. If you lost those items, I imagine some of those might be irreplaceable on these old outboards. I know we're not going to be using this switch again, so let's go ahead and get these out of the way. So turn it back now. $155 for that switch. Crazy. Alright, then let's see here. Got there's a little pin here. I'm trying to cut it. Alright. Make sure you can see. Alright, we'll get that out of there. Okay. Just to make this easier, I'll go ahead and cut that. If that'll cut. That ain't cutting. Alright. So you can see this loom here. Goes around for keep the wire married up to the cable. So I'm going to save it and try to reuse it. It's right here on the end of this shaft. As it comes through here is a coupling, and there's a ball on the end of it, and I have taken it off of it. So see that there? That will end up going on to the end of this, like that. So we'll store that there for now, so we don't lose it. If you look right here, there's a nut. It looks like this is stainless steel. Try not to break it getting it out of there. Yeah, if you look right here, there's some corrosion on that, so we're going to have to make sure we clean that up. Maybe there's some Loctite or something on there, but we'll get that out of there. I want to count the threads. So right here is this, I don't know if you can see this white ball that's right here. Looks like there is maybe a thread and a half out of it. So we're going to remember that going back in it. Alright, old cable is out. Let's go ahead and take this off. Man, there is some like one-off parts that go to these things. So if you ain't got a donor motor, you're definitely going to want to make sure you hold on to it. Put that in. I'm going to put it back about where I saw it. Looked like it was about maybe one thread in, like that. And this was bottomed out, this piece here. So when we put that in there, we'll bottom that out. Alright. Let me disconnect this battery. So do want to keep this wire low as long as I can, and I want those wires to where I can tap into them to put onto our new switch that we're going to mount up front. Looking at that new switch, looks like if we bottom it out, there'll be enough space underneath it, you know, to get that out of there, or to get it to where it's not in the way of the thing. So it says One wire running across. This has another wire running up to the ignition. So we can okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut these two wires right here so that way I'll leave enough room to splice them back if I ever need to, but I don't think so. Now, keep these right here for a second. I just wanted to dry fit this to see if this is going to fit. It is not. Okay, so I was worried that wasn't gonna fit. So I think what we're going to have to do is, if you look here on the front, these wires for the battery come through here. This is like a 3/4 inch tap hole, and this is a 1/2 inch hole. So what we're going to do is we're going to move those over and have those come out through there, and then we're going to put the ignition over here. There's plenty of room over there. I have an 82, 81, 35 horse as well, and it's the ignition is, I think it's right here, maybe it's over there, but it's on one of the sides, it's not in the middle. We might be able to just use that same loom that we had to go back to a new spot. So I'm gonna get this fish through here and I'll bring you back. Alright, so got a little rubber grommet here. I have rerouted it through the center hole here, and I'm gonna slide this rubber grommet down and plug it in here so it'll hold that nice and stiff there to where it doesn't hurt anything. And I think we're going to be set. I ended up also having to come up with a washer type of thing that's going to end up going in this hole here to help take up some of the space around it to make sure that we're good and the switch isn't going to turn. Alright, so I got the that rubber hose in here as a layer of protection, and go ahead and put the wire stop back in place. Alright, so we got that. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get this switch into place and get it set up, and then we'll go from there. I'll bring you back. Alright, so what I'm doing is sliding one of these heat shrinks down it. Then I'm going to use this. I'll strip this back, strip that back, put that on there, slide this wire back down inside it all the way up to it, then slide a piece of blue heat shrink over it and then shrink it down. Doesn't look the prettiest, but it should be relatively strong. So I'm gonna make all these up for all 4 of these wires here, and then I'll bring you back. Alright, I went ahead and printed this off. This is on that switch. Since I'm doing a mod, I don't need all of the other, it doesn't have an electric choke or any of that stuff. It's got a primer system. So what I did was I'm using M to M. Those are for the safety lanyard. And then I'm using A to S for the start. So A to S for start and M to M for the thing. Alright, so also, in the meantime, I did some research on the switch here, and it looks like that this is, even though the lanyard will shut it off, what it looks like the lanyard does is that it's just going to move it from the on to the off position whenever that lanyard's pulled. So it'll still start without that lanyard in place. I was kind of under the impression that it was going to prevent it from starting. On my Yamaha, you cannot start it without that in place, but on an Evinrude switch, or at least this switch, you can. So it isn't going to prevent that, but it will shut it off if you are, you know, rolling. Alright, well, I went ahead and put the cable through, and I'm going to go ahead and get that about where I think it needs to be. And run this back this way somewhat to be able to, man, get that to go through that way. Go ahead and pop this on. Screw it all the way down. That was all the way down. And I'm going to bring this through. Bottom of this ball throttle like that. Alright, so as you can see there, that's moving that in and out. So we got that piece there. The rest of it we need to run up through here. And put into place. That is in. You can see there, cable's in place now, and we will. I'm going to get the pieces, all the little pieces, put back together that were in here before we put the slide back on. I'm running low on battery. Throttle. You can see it's. You can probably see it here. It's moving decently. Got that back together. It goes together, you know, fairly smooth. There's a lot of small parts in that, so make sure that you're doing when you put it back together. I've got a plate that we got to put here, and then I think after that we are just focusing on getting this shored up. I have that switch in there and it is not turning. It is a good solid fit in there, so I think we are good on that. I think it's gonna function just nice. So I think we're good on that, and then what we'll do is we're gonna dress this up and get these you know, back to being in a wire loom as it goes through. So let me get, so basically these are going to run through here, and then I'm going to plug them in to the switch. So let me get that set up and get it, and then I'll bring it back and show you what all I ended up doing there. Okay, so before this wire was routed under, and then it went down underneath there and then made its way over to the switch over here, the push button switch. I took it over this time to get it down into this wire loom that you see right here, and then I have divided it and I have them going to the switches. The safety goes to the M and M terminals, and then the A and the S go to the start, so that way when we go to hit it, you know, we're gonna be good. So we've got that done. Then this plate underneath it is the throttle cable. This holds the throttle cable ball, which you can maybe see it, maybe you can't. Back down in there is a white ball that was on it. That is in place. Then it's connected up here. This was threaded in all the way. Then ran it down. I went ahead and added that wire loom back to here to give this cable some extra protection across this section here, and then as it comes up underneath, when it's sitting down, this is not really in the way all that much, so I would prefer to keep it as gradual as possible, so I have left it out of it. I was gonna, possibly put the tie, or put a zip tie down. All right, so on here, the cable comes up, that ball sits in there. There's a little retainer ring. Make sure you get that in there. That helps keep that in place so that doesn't pop out. And then it runs up through, and inside the grip here is a groove where it goes through, and then you press those little pieces that we were talking about before. And then, so the throttle lock is still functional. So it can still use the throttle lock. It just no longer has the button on the front. It's now been incorporated into that. So using that switch should help. I'm gonna have to eliminate this now. This was a extra key that you keep on there. There just happens to be one on the on this set that I got from Walmart that comes with like all of them. I'll take that one and put it on there, so that way it's you have an extra key just in case. But from what I know, or from what I've learned, you do not have to have the safety installed for it to start. It is only going to turn it off if it happens. So, alright, and then I think we are set. Other than that, I think we are ready for a test. So I'm going to get it set up, and then we are going to see how it cranks, see how the safety lanyard works. I also have a new fuel line. This one's by Shoreline Marine. It's for the Johnson Evinrude, so I'm going to throw that on it. And then this boat will be back in service. It's only been out of service about a week now, but it'll be ready to roll with some upgrades. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this, on my opinion on this here. I've had a 72 Johnson, a 73 Johnson, and I currently also have an 81 or 82, I can't remember which year, 35 horse. It's like a 1 year only, and it's got a bad lower unit, and I need a lower unit for it, but it's a 1 year only. So this system, all of those use choke. That's what I was trying to tell you. All of those use choke. This one uses this primer system. It is very expensive, but I have found that it makes this thing start so easy. You just hit that, do it according to the thing, hit the one primer, it grabs a little bit of fuel from the bowl, takes it over into the primer system, and then routes it back through and puts it directly into the intake, shoots it in there. There is no choke. It'll run like that, and then you run with it a little bit out, and with it a little bit out, it's still siphoning a little bit of fuel into it, and then you push it in when you're warmed up, and you are ready to roll. So, alright, enough said. Let's get you set up, and then we'll give it a shot. Alright, here we go. Oh, ground cable's loose. Spark sticks to a gas tank ain't good. No? Yes. Safety still works. Thanks for watching, everyone, and remember, you can't fix anything if you ain't out there turning wrenches.